Right, here we go. Right. Now, just a thing. With applause, that's useless. The hand's going slightly cupped. It sounds like about 1,000 people here if it's very fast. So, first of all, let's rehearse the applause. Quick now. Come on, like a bloody funeral. You know, so, how does Leslie Crowther do it at the pantomime? That was nearly good, but we're going to try just once more now. 1, 2, 3.
Why is the lead run out of yours?
Right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, your own Birmingham's own Jasper Carrott!
Try that again.
Is that all right?
That's amazing. Oh, here he is. Oh, my word. I was going to do an impersonation of a Pratt, but I've been beaten to it. Well, it's in tune, so I'll get on with it. Well, have you noticed the new guitar? Have you noticed that? Look. See? Impressed, aren't you? I thought I'd stick with a 12-string, like, you know, more chance of one or two of them being in. See, Martin. Look, Martin. Look, Martin. See? You haven't got a clue, have you? He wants it back tomorrow and all. I was on holiday last year in the famous Ibiza, in the Balearics, as you all know. Very cheap to go out there. And went from this firm in New Street called Contours, who I didn't realise either at the time. They do these 2 weeks in Ibiza, all in for £4, you know. And I heard... look, laugh in time with the others, for Christ's sake. Record only lasts 45 minutes. There's a French restaurant in Ibiza which we went to, and it was a really plush restaurant. Very, very high class, I must admit. Very, very high class. Because, like, millions go to Ibiza, you know, like Cilla Black and Lulu and Bob Monkhouse. They all wear dark glasses so you can't spot them, you know. And they all use this restaurant, and we're in there on about the third night we're there, and I was very impressed with all the names. Sitting next to me, not actually next to, on the next table, which wasn't actually the next table, but it's like across the way. There's a gangway between us. But like you could say it was the next table, couldn't you? Yes. Was eating his escargot was George Harrison. Hey? Yeah, there you go, see? Just thought I'd tell you that. He was sick to death. People kept coming up to him saying, "Hey, George, is that Jasper Carrott over there?" Because I live in Solihull. We have an asp in the audience. And I came here via Spaghetti Junction. Not too sure. Do you use Spaghetti Junction? No, you wouldn't, or else you wouldn't be here, really, would you? What a... I can't believe... I tell people about Spaghetti Junction when I'm away from Brum, and like most people have heard of it, actually. And really, it's not actually called Spaghetti Junction. Its official title is the Midland Motorway Link System. It's at locals call it Spaghetti Junction, you know, basically because I made a right bolognese of the whole affair. Well, it did. I mean, like, three major motorways, I mean, like the M1 and the M6 and the M5, all sort of converging, like, all together, like, and the 6 major A roads come into it as well, and 4 B roads and a couple of cul-de-sacs, like, and they got the Queen Mother in, right, to open up Spaghetti Junction. Can you imagine I mean, we haven't had royalty in Birmingham for years, have we? Like, Nehru was the last bloke we had, and decided to import the Queen Mother, and they flew her into Birmingham Airport, like a right away, innit? And the council spent something like £10,000 on all the trimmings, and there was a red carpet from the airport into Spaghetti Junction. Like, you know, it's 12 mile. Car missed it completely, waste of time. And they brought up all this army surplus bunting and strung it all around the city. And it was all camouflage colour, you know, no one could see it. And gave all the intelligent kids Union Jacks, you know, sort of, told them to stand on the pavement and wave to as you went by, and threw small leaflets and like, and they forgot the ribbon, you know, that she's got to cut. I mean, they spend all that, and they forgot the ribbon that she's got to cut. And like, there's a great big length of electricity cable strung across the motorway. And the Queen Mother with a great big pair of calipers trying to lock it out. And all the traffic's rushing by because it opened the day before, you know. And anybody from the Boggery at all? Come on, own up. Hi. Excuse me. Because I suppose I first started, really. I started the Boggery Folk Club in Solihull over 6 years ago now. And it's not easy to start a folk club in Solihull, believe you me. Well, it's like Solihull is ruled by sort of an elite of old... I mean, like, you know, Solihull's like everybody talks like that all the time. Isn't life absolutely fitting? That's just the street cleaner, you know? And I wanted to start this folk club, and they said, well, you can't do anything in Solihull without sort of the committee, you know, and all Tories, obviously, and I think there was a Labour bloke once, the young him, and they reside in the Palace, which is the Civic Hall. And I had to go and see them one day and explain that I'd like to start a folk club, you see. And they're in a massive room that it's amazing. It must have cost thousands. You sort of, Mr. Jasper Carrott, and it's bloody long. There's a T-bar halfway down. You can get it. Yes, and like all these 40 old biddies around the table. There was one bloke who was about 108. You know, like, he was dead. He used to vote by strings, you know. Yes? How'd you do? Who are you? I said, Jasper Carrott. Oh. What do you want? I said, I'd like to start a folk club in Solihull. You see, a folk music club. A folk club? A folk club? Long-haired hippies and sex orders and drugs and silly people? I thought, what folk club's she been going to? I never see it, that's a fact. And I tried to explain that folk music was cultural, you see, and they thought, oh, that's nice. And they like culture in Solihull, so they let me start this cultural folk club. And I started it in a rugby club. Very cultural, that was. And I called it the Boggery, you see. And they didn't like that, obviously. But the opening night was such a success, it was fantastic. Everybody had a fantastic time, including the mayoress, I think, but she wasn't letting on. And they tried to ban it for quite a while, really. But we hung on because it was so popular. And they left us alone eventually. They found something else to go and ban or try to. You know. In fact, what it was, in Solihull, somebody opened up a sex supermarket. Can you believe that? The guy must have been a genius in Solihull. I think he called it the mother care shop. I'm not sure. I ended up in Mel Square, and it was fun. Have you ever been around one? Go on, be honest. Daft, I was wandering around there for about a week. And, unbelievable, I couldn't get my hat on with some of the stuff they got there. I bought this clockwork cucumber. Made in Wigan. And I just, and all my mates were outside, you know. I was showing it to them. Look at that, look at the workmanship on it. And all these biddies, you know, were sort of walking up and down, great big placards, you know, trying to sort of get this place closed. And these great big signs saying, you know, ban sex, bring back the cat. I thought I was onto a good thing as well. And they saw me brandishing this clockworking thing. You dirty beast, you filthy swine, you give that here, you beast, here, hold that, Agnes. You filthy... Agnes? Agnes! You sign our petition. What's your name? Carrot. You filthy swine! Dirty beast! Couldn't get me breath. Was anybody listening to the radio before Christmas? I did my first national radio broadcast just before Christmas, and I did a programme called In Concert, which is not a folk programme at all. It's a rock programme, and have rock people on, you know, not mountain rock, sort of like, you know, rock groups like the Ollies and the Wombles and people like that. Why I got the programme, I'll never really know. They put me on with a group called the Pretty Things. Because the Pretty Things are like an age-old group, really. I always remember the Pretty Things coming out because the Pretty Things came out just after the Rolling Stones. Because the Rolling Stones came out and were really wild, you know, like upset everybody. And then the Pretty Things jumped on the Rolling Stones bandwagon and actually outscruffed the Stones. I mean, you know, they had hair down to the top of their ears, you know, like and denim. They were really wild. And they were on this programme and they asked me to do it. And I had to go down to the studios in London, and it was a live recording thing. And I was getting a bit worried. I read up about 3 months back issues of Melody Maker, so I might be able to get myself understood. You know what I mean? Like, you know, good vibes, freak out, you know. Rock off, man. You know. And it's really funny because, like, I pulled up outside the studios, you know, and I've got this sort of Anglia three-wheeler. There's a big commissionaire standing there, like he's about 6'9", and he's got medals. He's like a walking gong, you know. Yes. How do you do, Jasper Carrott? Who? Jasper Carrott. Oh yes. All right, get out. Pardon? Get out! We drive the cars round here. No, it's all right. I said, I'm one of the lads. I'll park with you. Get out, will you? I said, it's a bit awkward to... Get out! We've driven everything round here. Rolls, minis, everything. We can drive that bloody thing. So I lifted the door off. This 6'9" flunky got in. And he stalled it. Well, he would. There's no clutch. You know. Where's the starter motor? In Birmingham. So he pushed it round the back. And I went into the foyer, you see, and I'd got my axe with me, man. Hey, so you don't know what I'm on about, do you? That's a guitar. And I sort of walked into the foyer, you see, gobbing everywhere, you know. All rock singers gob, you know. And like it was crowded with like all Pretty Things fans. You know, there was about 500 of them in the audience, and all screaming mad. Like their ages ranged from about 14 to 14 and a half. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Pretty Things, and Jasper Carrott. Didn't have a chance. And because I used to work for the BBC, you know, at one time. I used to work for Radio Birmingham. How about that? I bet you don't remember that. Radio Birmingham, you remember? No. Of course. And I used to do a folk programme for Radio Birmingham, because, like, you probably realise by now, like, the aim of local radio is to fill in time between the news, right? And in the cheapest way possible, of course. This is why you always get those hundreds of phone-in programmes, you know, like, and people phone in about everything, you know. Hello, Ed! I've lost me budgie! Oh, knock out. Oh, we'll have a whole programme about that tomorrow. Those terrible adverts, you know, like, it costs about 150 quid to have an advert made. Well, the local butcher's not going to pay £1.50 to have an advert made, is he? He gets his son with his woolly cassette to knock him one out, you know. That's why you hear things like, get him out, Dad, for your chops! Well, of course, when Radio Birmingham came out, they wanted a folk programme, because a folk programme's cheap, you see. You don't have to pay for anybody. And they wanted a compere, and they brought me in, and they said, oh, hello, Mr. Carrott. They all talk like that as well, there. And I said, we're going to do this folk programme, and it's a really fizzing programme. Oh, really? Yes, we're going to use all local talent. Thought, great, it'll last about 3 programmes, yeah. Say, what are you going to call it? Oh, we've got a fantastically fizzing name we've been thinking about for hours and hours and days and weeks and years. We've got this wondrous name. It's going to sum up the whole of the folk music movement, the effect of the acoustic guitar upon the music. And they called it Folk Club. And it came out once a month. And they advertised it as it came out on the first Tuesday in the month every 4 weeks. See? And the first month with 5 Tuesdays came along, and they hadn't got a clue. And they played half the programme and put the other half into the first Tuesday on the following month, see? And then they lost track completely of it all. There was a game at Radio Birmingham saying, guess when Folk Club is on? The Radio Times one, they got it right twice in about 18 months. And when you work for the BBC, you have to pass a medical. Right, I was sort of, you know, I wasn't employed by them, but, like, if you do a contract job, you have to have a medical. And I had a medical at Pebble Mill, right? And, I was there sort of doing this contract bit, and they said, right, we're going to have a medical now. I said, what, now? Yes, go on, you'll be all right. So I went to the sort of Pebble Mill doctor, who was about 93. And, the only medical I'd ever had in my life was at school, right? And you know how thorough school medicals are, right? They get through about 800 kids in half an hour, you know. Sort of run through the gym with your tongue out. If you fall over, you're blind. You could have dysentery and beriberi in a school medical, they'd never find it. And I was having this medical, and I was going through all the normal things, and, you know, chopping your knees and coughing, and I enjoyed that. Reading all those silly card things he's got. I can never understand him. All I could read was printed by E.J. Robinson, Birmingham. And I was going through this thing like a champ, really, no trouble at all. And right at the end, he said, right, Mr. Carrott, he said, almost finished. We're going to do a urine test now. Terrible word, isn't it? Test. Well, what do I do? He said, you give me a sample of your urine. I said, well, how'd you do that? He said, well, put it in the beaker there on the shelf. See? It's a good 12 foot away from there. You can give me a stool, I got a chance. And he sort of gave me this beaker, he wrote it down, and it was a bit unfortunate, really, having this, because, like, I had no warning of it, and it was just after the dinner hour, and I'd been celebrating the contract with a few friends, you know. We'd had about 8 pints of double diamond, right, and, well, he should have had a bigger beaker. When you start, you can't stop, so you get... And it was all over the top, and it was all going on his carpet. And what the bloody hell are you doing? Well, can't help it. It's all in... And then we lost track of it, you know. And we found it was brimming and frothing. And he wouldn't pick it up, you see. I wasn't, I knew it was in it. He gets this litmus paper and starts wanging it. I said, wouldn't you like a spoon? He said, don't be bloody ridiculous. I said, what's the matter? He said, it's all right. He said, it should come out blue. Said, it was bright orange. He said, that can't be right. Good heavens, no. He said, pass some more. I think I'm a fountain or something. And you can't double take just like that, can you? I mean, like, you have to think about it for a bit, don't you? Like waterfalls and taps and stuff. He said, oh, come on. I said, like, can't, hang on. He said, have some bloody water. He said, have the damn jugs. Don't take a walk around the ground. So I'm walking around Pebble Mill with this great big jug of water, and all the women are waving from the offices. What are you doing? You'd never believe it. And this thing was positive again. And he said, you've got diabetes. Well, you may have. He said, you've got to go to the Queen Elizabeth tomorrow. He said, and have a blood test, which is the hospital, you see. So I said, right. You think so? He said, well, I don't know. He said, if it's going to be positive, make it positive. Have a final fling. So, like, on the night, all your mates, you know, I mean, they thought it was tragic, you know, that I'd got diabetes. Like double diamonds down every orifice I could find. And curries and donuts and things. And I woke up next morning, you know, like, my teeth itched. And I was trying to find a receptacle, and I had to take with me a sample of the first passing of the day, you see. And I was trying to find a receptacle to put it in, and I couldn't find anything, and I had to go next door. And they helped me out, and they got an empty Johnny Walker Scotch bottle. Half size, you see. So I thought, oh, well, fair enough. Washed it out, sort of filled it up, put it in my bag, and got onto the bus to go to the Queen Elizabeth. Got off the bus, went up to the gate, you know, there's the flunky, showed him my card, realised that I'd left the bottle in the bag on the bus, trolling down the road. I thought, oh, some poor bugger's in for that, aren't they? Well, I've never had it back. I've been round every lost property office in Birmingham, but I've never found that. I suppose somebody found it, thought they're onto a good thing, and whoa, have a party with that. Whoa, yeah. Who's for Scotch? Oh, me, hooray! Me, hooray! There you go. Cheers, hooray! Oh, wonderful blend, Harry. Tastes just like piss, doesn't it?